Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's a bit loud. Okay, that's okay. Okay, guys, we're going to start at around 7:01. So we still get like about 3 minutes more and then we begin.
I'm here with Reina too.
Oh, okay. So that
Okay.
is that Reina and Mia.
Yes.
Give her points off, Mr. Mora, for not getting on her own.
Julie.
Okay.
And afford my own.
Okay. Let's just wait for a few more and then we'll begin. Hmm. Mm-hmm. 2 minutes more.
Mr. Mora.
Yes.
So on our pre-calculus like day class,
Yes.
you know how there's like assignments on Khan Academy?
Yeah.
If I do all of them that are due next week, will I have to do anything next week?
Not really. If you're able to do them, everything that's due for next week, then you don't have to do anything for next week.
Okay, because next week's my party week.
Your next week is?
My party week.
Oh, party week. Very nice. Hopefully you're just gonna stay at home or you gonna be
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm partying my kitchen that week.
Oh, okay. That's good to hear, and I hope you enjoy.
Thank
you. And don't get drunk.
No promises.
Okay. Okay. Where's the rest? Anyway. One, two, three, four. What happened to Mia's missing? Okay, guys. Let's begin. I'm just gonna take your attendance. All right. Can everybody see my blue screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, you guys good? Reina,
Yeah.
Julie,
Good.
Haley, JJ.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for today's lesson, it's a little bit tricky, but let's see if we could. Hopefully, we could do this in just like on a single glance, and hopefully, we don't have to finish all of the hour. And just take note that your assignment is already your homework or your assignment is all. It's not on Khan right now. However, it's in Google Classroom. Uh, if you need help with your assignments, what you need to do first is I need to see first your initial solution to your assignment before I could help you, so that I would know where you guys are going, or what's your strategy, what's your plan. Okay. All right, let's begin. Okay, guys, so for today, we are going to be discussing how to prove trigonometric identities. So when we talk about trigonometric identities, okay, think about Clark Kent. What's the other what's the other character for Clark Kent?
Superman.
Superman. Okay, so we want to prove that Clark Kent is the same as Superman. Likewise as Batman would be the same as who?
Bruce.
Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner or Bruce Wayne?
Bruce Wayne.
Okay, Bruce Wayne. Okay, so this is how trigonometric identity is going to look like. What that means is, okay, for every trigonometric identity or for every trig function, there is a counterpart. It's sort of like it has like a different character. It has like a different equation all on its own. So let's begin. Did you guys were you guys able to have a copy on the thing that I sent you yesterday?
Yeah.
It's a 7. So I want you guys to just take a look at just the second page of that. If you were able to print that, or if you have like a copy of that. If not, that's okay. We're just going to discuss, we're not going to discuss all of that, the second page, but we're just going to discuss all the way to the Pythagorean identities. Okay, so let's start with the most basic part. Okay, let's say I want to discuss, okay, let's say we all know sine theta. Okay, sine theta is just equal to what, guys? What's the ratio? What's the ratio of sine theta?
Opposite over hypotenuse.
Okay, it's opposite over your hypotenuse, right? Now, if we take a look at cosecant theta, on the other hand, okay, what's going to be our ratio for cosecant theta? Guys, any ideas what's going to be the ratio of cosecant theta?
Hypotenuse over opposite.
Okay, so you'll have hypotenuse over your opposite. Now, if you notice closely, okay, sine theta is actually just the reciprocal of cosecant theta. Now, this is what we call as our reciprocal identities. What that means is, if I'm going to write sine theta, okay, I'm just going to erase that. Okay. Sine theta could also be equal to 1 over cosecant theta. Okay, you guys getting the idea? Since cosecant theta is a reciprocal of sine theta, then therefore sine theta is just equal to 1 over cosecant theta. I miss a C right there. Let me just, oh, doesn't get erased. Bigger one. Okay, it's a 1 over cosecant theta. Oh, what happened to my, it's not hard anymore. Cosecant theta. Let me just do a quick adjustment, guys. I don't know what happened to my, let's see what this one. Oh. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about cosine theta. Okay, cosine theta. What's going to be our ratio for cosine theta, guys? What's the trigonometric ratio of cosine theta? Anybody? Guys, you hear me out? Anybody?
Over sine.
JJ, Haley, any ideas? What's the, we discussed this last week. What's the ratio of cosine theta? Anybody? JJ, Reina, Mia?
Adjacent over hypotenuse?
Yeah.
So we got your adjacent over your hypotenuse. Now let's take a look at your secant theta. My bad. Let's take a look at your secant theta. What's going to be your secant theta on the other hand?
Hypotenuse over adjacent.
Very good. So you'll have hypotenuse over adjacent. Now again, they are again inverses of one another. So therefore, if cosine theta, for cosine theta, we could also rewrite this as 1 over secant theta. So we now have 1 over secant theta. Okay, you guys good? Now, of course, for your tangent theta, okay, so I think everybody would like already know, tangent theta would just then be 1 over cotangent theta. So you have sine theta is 1 over cosecant theta, cosine theta is 1 over secant theta, and tangent theta would just be therefore be 1 over cotangent theta. Now, we could also do inverses on all of these three trigonometric ratios. We could therefore say cosecant theta, okay, is just equal to 1 over sine theta. Secant theta, on the other hand, could just also be 1 over cosine theta. And of course, cotangent theta will just be therefore equal to 1 over tangent theta. So this is what we call as our reciprocal identities. Now, there's also one more that I would like you guys to see. This is what we call, so this is what we call as our reciprocal identities. Okay. The second part is what we call as our division identities or our quotient identities. So quotient. So quotient identities. So what are these? So when we try to divide sine theta over your cosine theta, this will just give us, and anybody could give me like a guess what sine theta over cosine theta, guys? Anybody? Ideas? What sine theta over cosine theta? Guys? JJ, Reina? Anybody?
I don't know, Mr.
Okay. So if you got sine over cosine, okay, you will just have tangent theta. Okay, so therefore sine divided by cosine is just equal to tangent theta. On the other hand, if we do the inverse or the reciprocal of sine theta over cosine theta, which is just equal to cosine theta over sine theta, what will this give us? Guys, any ideas?
The inverse of tangent?
Yes, what's the inverse of tangent?
Arctangent?
Arctangent, what else? It's going to be co. Very good, Reina. It's going to be cotangent theta. Okay? So guys, I'd like you to write this down on your notes, or if you want to screen capture it, I would highly advise to screen capture it before I proceed with the next part. Because I'll be needing the entire, well, maybe 75% of my blue board. And I'll give you like about a minute, guys, to write it down or screen cap it. And then we're going to proceed with our Pythagorean identities. Okay? Okay. So everybody good? Can I erase my my set, guys? My board?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just erase my board. Only I could. Okay, here we go. This is okay. Have anybody like kind of tested for? I've heard they were testing for coronavirus for free at the town hall. Have you guys heard about that or?
Yeah, but we decided not to go because if we did, we would just go for fun. But we're not sick, so we're just staying home.
Yeah, me too. I think I might even get more sick. Just kidding. Okay, so shall we proceed? Okay,
Yeah.
guys. Okay, so our next one is what we call as the Pythagorean identities. So there's a number of identities, but we're just going to go all the way to the Pythagorean identities. Okay. First, Pythagorean identities. Again, we call this as a Pythagorean identities because this identity is actually derived from your Pythagorean theorem. So we're just going to deal with about 3 of them. So our first is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Okay, that's your first Pythagorean identities. Okay, so again, guys, this is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Now, let me just rewrite that again because I will be needing that in order for us to get our second Pythagorean identities. So let's say we want to derive everything by sine squared. So I want you guys to be ready. I want you guys to think a little bit for this one. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by sine squared theta. If you remember, whatever you do on your left, you also have to do it on the right side of your equation. So guys, if we divide everything, what would happen? So if we divide sine squared theta divided by sine squared theta, what would that give us for this part, JJ? What's going to be sine squared theta over sine squared theta?
Would it be 1?
Very good. So you'll have 1. Okay. Reina Terrazas, okay, get ready. What's going to be cosine squared theta divided by sine squared theta? Take a look at the ones that we did just a while ago on your quotient identities. What's cosine over sine?
Is it arctangent?
Not arctangent, but
Cotangent?
it's going to be cotangent. What happened to... okay, so that's just going to give us... I'm pretty sure somebody was trying to get in, but anyway. So that's going to give us cotangent. Remember, since this is a square, that will just give us a cotangent squared theta. It's just therefore equal to what? So what's over 1 over sine squared, guys?
Cosecant? What is it? How do you say it?
Yeah, very good. It's cosecant squared. So therefore 1 over sine, since this one is a square, this one will just give us a cosecant squared theta. Okay, it's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, all right. So therefore, this is going to be our first one. This is going to be number 1. Okay. This is going to be number 2. And then for our third part, what we're going to do is, okay, we're still going to be using our sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1, but instead of dividing it with sine squared theta, we are going to be dividing it with cosine squared theta on each of our side of our equation. So we divide everything by cosine squared theta. Let me just erase my equation. I'm just going to make it a little bit. Okay. So guys, let's start with, okay, so let's take a look at Haley. What's going to be our sine squared theta divided by cosine squared theta? That's our quotient identity. What's sine over cosine? Haley?
Tan theta.
It's going to be
Tan theta.
tan theta. Very good. So you'll have tangent theta. Hello, Kayla. Is Surya with you there or it's just you? So that will just give us tangent squared theta plus, of course, guys, cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta. Julie, what will that give us?
1.
So that will just give us 1 is equal to, okay, so we got 1 over cosine squared theta. So let's take a look at Mia Terrazas. Is Mia Terrazas there? What's 1 over cosine squared theta, guys?
Second squared theta.
Very good. So that's going to give us a secant squared theta. So this is now our third Pythagorean identities. Okay. Questions, guys? Clarifications? Any questions?
No.
No, so okay. So again, in this part, we're just technically deriving our Pythagorean identities. Whatever is on the square, the red square box, or whatever is on the red box, that's the most important part because we're going to be using them in order for us to solve some equations later on. So guys, I'll give you like about 1 minute to screen cap this blue screen and then I'll begin by 7:22. It's good. Kyla, you there?
Yes, Mr. Mar, we're both here.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay,
she had
okay,
it on
okay.
mute. She didn't know.
That's okay. That's okay. Everybody has the first time. I had my first time a few weeks ago and it was crazy. Okay. So we got almost every
Toilet water, Mr. Mar.
Oh, what?
This is toilet water.
Okay. Be careful. I'll be posting this on YouTube. So
Oh.
okay. Just be careful with your language, okay? Okay. Oh, something fell. Okay, guys, can we continue? So we're going to start off with some examples, simple examples. You guys ready? Julie, Mia, Rainer, Kyla, and Syria, JJ.
Yes.
Okay. I guess. Okay. So I'll start deleting my. Okay, guys, ready? So I'll take a look at example. Let's take a look at first example number 1. Let's begin with something very, very simple. I'm going to look for something simple. Let's take a look at this one. So we have here the equation of, oops, let's do an orange from like green with this one. So let's try to do sine theta, secant theta, so that they're being multiplied to one another. Secant theta, cotangent theta is equal to 1. Okay, so this is like a typical example or a typical problem on proving identities. What we want to do is we want to prove that our left side, the left side of our equation, is the same as our right side. So again, guys, that's the left side has to be the same with our right side. And how do we do that? What we're going to do is we're going to manipulate, okay, our left side of our equation so that it would look exactly what our right side looks like. Imagine Bruce Wayne, we're trying to cover up Bruce Wayne, okay, to make him dress exactly the same as Batman. We're trying to make Clark Kent take off his glasses to look exactly the same as Superman. Would that make sense?
Yes.
It's good? Okay. So let's begin. So we're just going to manipulate, okay, we're just going to manipulate these ideas right here. Now, again, guys, there's as long as your equation or your presumptions are correct, okay, it doesn't matter whether you begin with a different identity or not. So let's say I'm just going to rewrite my sine theta, okay? However, for my secant theta, okay, what's the inverse function of secant theta? What is it equal to, guys? Any ideas? What? Take a look at our notes earlier. Okay, what is equal to secant theta?
1 over
Hey,
cosine theta?
very good. So you got 1 over cosine theta. Okay. And then for my cotangent theta, okay, what we're going to do is what is its quotient identity for cotangent theta, guys? What's
Cosine
the
over sine.
So that's gonna very good, very good. So cosine theta, cotangent theta is just the same as cosine theta over sine theta. So let me just rewrite this. Okay, these two parts, okay, sine theta and 1 over cosine theta, I could just rewrite them as sine theta. So let me just erase it with a blue marker. I mean a green color. So you'll have sine theta over cosine theta, okay, multiply to cosine theta over sine theta. Okay, this is this part already. And Haley, is there anything that we could cancel out? Haley, is there anything that we could cancel out on our left side? What can we cancel out? Haley's not there. Anybody?
The cosine.
So you got your cosine. So I can cancel out your cosine. What else can we cancel out?
Sine.
So you could also cancel. Very good. So we could also cancel out your sine. So what else is left on our left side?
1.
1. Very good. Very good. So we only have 1 on our left side. And guess what? Your left side is now equal to your right side. So we now have 1. Oh, still is red. Oh yeah, I have to select on mine. So we now can say 1 is therefore equal to 1. You guys good? Questions, guys? Clarifications? It's relatively very, very easy. We're going to slowly progress it into something a little bit challenging. But for the second part, I think it's still going to be very, very easy. Questions, guys? Clarifications?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to have you guys screen capture this, or if you want to write it down, I'll give you like about a minute, and then I'll go ahead and erase again. So it's 7:28. I'll begin my second example by 7:29. We got 1, 2, 3. Okay, guys, can I erase now? You guys good? I'll erase everything. First example, okay. Let's take a look at our second example. This one should be a little bit more easier. We have sine theta multiplied to secant theta is equal to tangent theta. Okay, so again, what we want to do is we just wanted to manipulate our left side to make it look exactly the same as our right side. So sine theta, I think I don't want to do anything with my sine theta. But what can we do with our secant theta, guys? What's another way of writing secant theta? Anybody?
1 over cosine theta.
Very good. So you'll have 1 over cosine theta. Very nice. So I think you guys are getting the hang of this. So you have 1 over cosine theta is equal to tangent theta. This one would just then be sine theta over cosine theta is equal to tangent theta. Guys, this is again what identity? This is a quotient identity. Sine theta over cosine theta will just give us what?
And theta.
Tangent theta. So therefore tangent theta is now equal to tangent theta. So therefore your left side is now equal to your right side. Good?
Yep.
You guys okay? I think we're ready now to move into something a little bit more challenging. So guys, a minute to write it down or a minute to screen cap it. Take a look at it again and then I'll begin by 7:32. Oh, here comes Abby. Hello, Abby. Is anybody with you or it's just you? Oh. Let me just do a screen capture on it again. One, two, three, four. Okay, guys, can I start erasing? You guys good?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay, so this time we're going to get a little bit more challenging example. So let's do this one. So we have here, it's a red. We got secant theta minus tangent theta, okay, sine theta is equal to 1 over secant theta. Now, just a reminder, if you sort of see this type of like one trig ratio is written right after another trig ratio, what that means is they're being multiplied to one another. So this means tangent theta is being multiplied to sine theta. Shall we begin?
Mhm.
Okay, guys. So I
Let's
want
go.
you to let's go. Okay. Kyla. Okay, so let's take a look at secant theta, Kyla. What's another way of writing secant theta? What's its
So,
yes. Yes, Kyla?
okay, so you have to rewrite that.
You're on mute.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were mute.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that, honestly.
That's
Don't you
okay.
put?
What's another way? That's okay. That's okay. Could anybody like maybe help Syria and Kyla?
1 over cosine theta.
Okay, so that will be 1 over cosine
Appreciate you.
theta. Okay, no problem. You're okay. So 1 over cosine theta. Secant theta is just another way of writing down secant theta is 1 over cosine theta. Now, we're going to do the same. This time, your tangent theta, okay? Tangent theta for this one, Reina, can you please give me the quotient identity of tangent theta? What's another way of
Sine
writing?
theta over cosine theta.
Very, very good. So you'll have sine theta. Good job, Reina. And belated happy birthday. So you have sine theta over.
Thank you.
All right. So you have multiply to sine theta is equal to 1 over secant theta. Okay. Now we're just going to plane this out just a little bit. Okay. So in this case, we can now have 1 over cosine theta. Okay, for this one, Syria, what's x times x? What's x times x, Syria? That would
Sorry,
give us
what?
what?
The x
What's
times
x?
x?
Yes, what's x times x? X squared, right? So therefore, what
Yeah,
sine theta? Okay, so therefore, what sine theta multiplied to sine theta?
Sine theta squared?
Sine. So that's going to be sine
Or
squared
just, okay, yeah.
theta. Okay, and cosine theta would still be there. Is equal to 1 over secant theta. Now, guys, if you take a look at the left side of our equation, okay, they both have the same denominators. They both have the same denominator. So what that means is we could combine them into a single fraction. So it can only just have like one denominator. So that will now just give us 1 minus sine squared theta, okay, over cosine theta is equal to 1 over secant theta. Any questions so far? Clarifications, guys? You guys okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you guys still see this part? I want you guys to take a look at, if you guys remember our very first Pythagorean identity, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1, right? Okay. Now, what happens if we are now going to subtract sine squared theta, okay, on both sides? We can now cancel this one out, and it's going to give us a different identity. This one cancels out. This one would remain. So that one will just give us cosine squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. Now, guys, do you see this on our problem right here? Do you see this? Do you guys see this part? The 1 minus sine
Yes.
squared theta. So what is it equal to? This part. What is this equal to this part? What is
Cosine
that
squared
equal?
theta.
Very good. So that is just technically equal to just 1 minus sine squared theta. So therefore, let me just erase this part. So I now have my 1 minus sine squared theta is just therefore equal to cosine squared theta over cosine theta. Now, Abby, how could we simplify if we have cosine squared theta divided by cosine theta? It's just the same as x squared divided by x. What is x squared divided by x? Abby?
Let me look.
What's x squared divided by x? Oops. Okay.
That was a child slamming a door.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I hope he's okay. That's all. It's okay. X squared over x, guys. Abby, what's that gonna give us?
I have no clue.
Come on.
X.
That was just gonna give us x, right? Because this one's gonna
Yep.
give us 1. So what's cosine squared theta divided by cosine theta? What would that just give us?
Cosine theta.
Very good. So that will just give us a cosine theta is equal to 1 over secant theta. Now, guys, what's another way of writing down cosine theta? Ideas? What's the reciprocal of cosine theta?
1 over secant theta.
So that will just give us 1 over secant theta. So therefore, we can now say, I'll just have our last equation here. 1 over secant theta is just the same as 1 over secant theta. And that's your final answer.
Mr. Moore,
Questions?
can we do an example from the worksheet?
From the worksheet, let me see. Yeah, I think we could do one. Let's take a look at...
Pick it the hardest one.
You pick the hardest one. Okay, guys. You guys interested to do number 1 so that we could eliminate all the squares for that? You guys want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So guys, I'll give you like about 1 minute to write this one down or screen capture it. And then after that, we are going to do number 1 on our worksheet. Okay, we can do number 1 or number 2. And you guys will just have to do the for other numbers. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Shall we begin? Can I erase it now, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so let me erase. So we have here, this is actually worksheet. This is number 1 on your worksheet. You have cosine theta. It's actually x, but I think it's better for me to write down theta instead of x. Sine theta, cosine theta minus sine theta squared is equal to 1 minus 2 sine theta cosine theta. Now, what we're going to do first here is we're going to expand. Now we could either do, we could technically do the FOIL method, or if you want, do you guys want to do the FOIL method for this one, or are you guys comfortable of just giving the expanded version right away, like the expanded version of cosine theta minus sine theta? Would you want me to do the shorter or the longer version for you guys to
Shorter.
Shorter? You guys sure? Could anybody give me what's the expanded version of cosine theta minus sine theta squared right away? Anybody? Ideas? Clarifications? Because if not, I think we're gonna have to do it the longer way so that everybody would be able to see where did our equation came from. I'll just change this to red first. So guys, would everybody understand if I write down my left side as cosine theta minus sine theta multiplied to cosine theta minus sine theta?
Yes.
Would that make sense? For the left side? So I think let's just do the FOIL so that everybody would see where did it came from. Okay, so guys, let's try to do the FOIL. Cosine theta multiplied to cosine theta, what would that give us? Anybody?
Cosine squared theta.
Very good. So you'll have cosine squared theta. Okay, JJ, get ready for this one. What's going to be cosine theta multiplied to negative sine theta?
Would it be
Yes, JJ, you can do this.
would it be cosine theta times negative sine theta?
Okay, and what would that give us? What's x multiplied to negative y? What would that give us?
Would it give us xy, negative xy?
Negative xy. So JJ, what's another? Can you give me? Your answer is correct, but can you give me a better way to saying your answer? So what's cosine theta multiplied to negative sine theta?
So would it be negative
Negative. Very good.
cosine theta sine theta?
Very good. So, okay, good job. Then Haley, what's gonna be negative sine theta multiplied to cosine theta? Haley? Where's Haley? Haley? Hello, Haley?
My audio keeps not working.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So, Haley, you have any ideas? What's negative sine theta, cosine theta?
Negative.
Negative. Very good.
And wouldn't it just still be cosine
Very
theta
good.
sine? Or
Yeah. Cosine theta, sine theta. Okay. And then Reina Terrazas, can you give me what's negative sine theta multiplied to negative sine theta?
Sine squared theta.
Very good. So that will give us positive sine squared theta, because negative multiplied to a negative will just give us a positive answer. I will just write down whatever is on my right side. So guys, I want you to take a look at what can we combine. Is there any terms that we can combine? Syria, any ideas on what can we combine?
The negative cosine or negative cosine data, sine data, and then the other ones on the other side.
So how many do we have? We got 2, right?
Yeah, 2
So
of each.
very good. So you will now have cosine squared theta, that will still be the same. if you combine these two, we now have negative 2 cosine theta sine theta plus sine squared theta. Now, if you guys if you take a look at your right side, they're almost the same. Now, I want you to take a look at, I want you to focus your attention on cosine squared theta and sine squared theta. Now, if you remember, 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 2 would still be 5. So therefore, what is cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta, given that sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1? So guys, what is the sum, or what's the answer of cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta? Mia Terrazas, ideas?
1.
1, very good. So that will just give us 1. Let me just change my color. Good job. So that will just give us 1. So we now have 1 minus 2 cosine theta sine theta is equal to 1 minus 2 sine theta cosine theta. Now again, guys, 2 times 3 is equal to 6, and that's just the same as 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So therefore, if we're just going to interchange cosine theta and sine theta, then that would be exactly the same as our right side. So therefore, we now have 1 minus 2 sine theta cosine theta is just equal to 1 minus 2 sine theta cosine theta. And that's your final answer. Questions, clarifications? Hard, easy, challenging? I don't know what to do.
Long
Six
process.
of those.
Okay, so guys, do you want to solve all 5, or would you be comfortable to just like maybe solving 4? Anybody? Or would you like
Go
to do
for
all
them
5?
all.
Go for 4 or go for 5?
All of them.
All of them? You want to solve all of them, or you want to solve? Anyway, you still got until next Thursday to solve them out. So would any 4 numbers be okay for you guys to just do?
Yes.
Of course. Okay, so except for number 1. Now again, if you have any clarifications with the lessons, if you have any questions with the assignments or with the homework, I would like to see first what's your initial step. Then I can guide you on what to do next. Okay?
Okay.
Questions, guys? You guys got it? Any more questions? Do you want one more example, or are we good for today?
Good for today.
Good for today.
I agree.
Everybody okay with that? Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So guys, just a reminder again, your assignment is not on Khan. For this one, it's on Google Classroom. The instructions are there. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, I want to see first what's your initial step on how to solve it, and I'll tell you what's your next course. I'd highly advise you guys to collaborate, check with your other classmates. You might be surprised that there's totally different ways to solve these types of problems. Okay? So you guys good?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, guys. Have a great evening and see you next week.
You too.
Don't catch the Rona.
You too.
I hope you two guys be careful, be careful, be careful. Okay? Bye, bye, bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.